Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. As here, I'm doing a documentary review of Out of Shadows. Out of Shadows is a documentary that I actually have seen twice, and it is a documentary based on the story of a Hollywood stuntman who fractured his spine while doing a stunt. And because of this, he met an unnamed pelvic floor therapist, and through this pelvic floor therapist he learned about satanic ritual abuse, because this pelvic floor therapist sees or saw lots of children who are basically injured for life as a result of getting raped at ritual abuse ceremonies. And it was through this therapist that he kind of opened his eyes about the dark underbelly of Hollywood. And there are many well-known, well, not many, but there's some well-known journalists that are in the documentary, including Liz Crokin. The director is the stuntman. His name is Mike Smith. On the front of the documentary artwork, it says Bible verse Ephesians 6:10 to 20. Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the schemes of the devil. An expose on how Hollywood and the mainstream media manipulate the multitudes by spreading propaganda through their content. It mentions Operation Mockingbird, which is the CIA's operation to infiltrate mainstream media. They, according to the CIA, would know the operation would be complete and that Mockingbird would be successful if and when the entirety of what the American public believed to be true through the media was in fact false. So their goal was total manipulation and a completely falsifiable media. Other people who are mentioned are the Bronfmans, the Rainier cult, the Nexium cult, excuse me, with Keith Rainier at the head, was mentioned, and the Rainier cult actually just got sentenced pretty recently. At least one person did. Uh, Five of them believed that Rainier was wrongfully convicted, and Claire Bronfman was one of the ones sentenced, and she has been sent to a minimum security Connecticut camp for women for nearly 7 years. Other people mentioned or events mentioned in this documentary include Timothy Leary, who, if you know anything about the LSD movement of the 60s and 70s, he was a figurehead in the LSD movement. And he himself said in the documentary, based on archival footage, that he has the CIA to thank because of LSD. And they talked about the possibility of a mass bioweapon attack using LSD by putting it in the water source and thereby making the population defenseless through hallucinogenic infiltration of the water supply. Anton LaVey, who was the founder of the Satanist Church in California, and his ties to Hollywood as well. Classic honeypot tactics by the CIA and the control of celebrities in general, whereby they mention that they don't let certain people get to a certain degree of power and fame unless they can be controlled. Liz Crokin is interviewed about the Pizzagate controversy with the pedophilic secret code symbols of Comet Pizza, the history of Comet Pizza, the John Podesta emails where they use these encrypted words, Marina Abramovich and her spirit cooking ceremonies, and her tendency to create cakes in the shape of human bodies to mimic cannibalism. The MK Ultra program by the CIA, which was the mind control program. It also mentions the Maddox false flag in the Gulf of Tonkin that started the Vietnam War as well. Other celebrities mentioned in this particular documentary, Out of the Shadows, James Alefantis, who is the owner of Comet Pizza, one of the 50 most powerful men in Washington, who owns a pizza parlor. Sarah Bronfman, of course, Hillary Clinton, Alan Dulles, CIA head, the original. Jim Carrey is seen when they do the weird, diamond sign. Epstein as well. Giuliani, Gervais, a lot of people in here. Even Kanye West is mentioned as well. And I recommend people check this documentary out if you haven't already seen it. It kind of was making the rounds on the internet in the spring, in May and June and April, or around that time. And I watched it then, and I just rewatched it last night. So this is why I'm doing the review. I never did a review on Out of Shadows. So I wanted people to check it out. Highly recommend it. It is a great starting point. It's only an hour and 17 minutes, and it can be found on the internet pretty readily. I might link in the description box. I actually forgot to do that. But yeah, once again, Through the Eyes, directed and casted of and by this particular former Hollywood stuntman who fractured a vertebrae, rendered him basically useless as a stuntman. So that was a forced retirement for him, and what started this whole journey for him. So check it out. Out of Shadows. Mike Smith is his name. Very generic white name, but he's a fantastic. He was in the Academy as well as the Screen Actors Guild. Extensive experience in Hollywood as a stuntman, and really well done documentary. Out of Shadows, 2020. Mike Smith. 1 hour, 17 minutes. Yeah, so it was released on the 11th of April. So May is kind of when it was like hitting its peak in terms of internet waves. So check it out. This is a documentary review of Out of Shadows by Mike Smith by Addy Ads, the YouTube chosen one. Check out my other videos and reviews on books, documentaries, and more by going on my channel. And I will put some of the links in the description box below as well. If you want to subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. I may be getting shadow banned. And if you're really, really helpful, I would love a donation of Patreon, GoFundMe, or PayPal. Subscribe star as well. That being said, please let me know what you think of this documentary. Be interested to see what you guys think. Stay frosty. Oh yeah, and shout out to Rivera in the top right. This guy is from Bud's Class 234, which I'm gonna do a documentary review on as well. I don't know why he popped up there. Let me change that. There we go. There's Da Vinci.